Good morning from the Real Deal Kitchen. It is a rainy and windy day here, starting out that way. Actually, love this weather. Kind of keeps one in an interior, cloaked in place, and that actually suits me just fine. Has always suited me just fine, but especially at this moment in my life, it kind of speaks to my where I am in many ways, and I guess that has been my thought. Oh gosh, for quite some time, but especially concentrated in the last few weeks. How I'm living in at this moment in the between four wheels to some degree, and as I've spoken of before or written of, if you're following my updated posts on the GoFundMe page, um, that I'm so reliant on others, and that's a difficult place to be, I think, for anyone. Um, and especially for me because I've come from having such a physical life. My world was really built on physicality, and that's exactly how I discharged a lot of my frustrations that we all get and have in daily life. And so now I'm faced with how I sit with all of that, literally sit with it. Um, a few years back on my older blog, Art of Nourishment, at blogspot.com, I wrote a small piece titled "Patience and Practice," and that is. I went back to read it. I must have written that, oh, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago now. And it speaks so directly to where I am, both kind of what we're doing in the kitchen in reality, because we've been doing a lot of kitchery, and we're renewing a granola recipe right now, and all of those things take soaking and rinsing, and that's exactly what I was speaking of in this post. I guess I was doing similar things, although I was in a very different physical space. Um, and the rinsing part is so so much about how do I deal with, speaks so much to how do I deal with being in this space that I'm in right now. Because when you're rinsing grains, or especially grains or dal, which are legume, you rinse until the water is clear. And that takes some patience because you don't know how long it's going to take for that water to come clear. And at times it takes longer than others. And it's exactly like that with the mind. And that's what I am in a place of having to continually remind myself at this moment. In the past, I would run off to a spin class or practice some intensive asana either on my own or in a class, or uh, do hours of creative work in the kitchen. And I don't have those outlets now. I am in the kitchen, but it's in a very different way right now. So what am I left with? So I guess I'm left with having to cultivate patience, and that is my practice right now. How long will it take me for my mind on any given day to run clear so that I can be in this space without having to hold so much energy that is destructive. And that's okay. We all have those tendencies, and things build up, but how do we sit with them? How do we work with them when we may not have our usual outlets? So I suppose that's the question I'm sitting with, and I leave you to wonder about for yourself, because we all meet up with a wall at some point or other. It might not be a wall as intensive as what I'm facing right now. It could be as simple as you're traveling, so you don't have your normal outlets, or something's come up with your child, or at work where it's an unusual circumstance, and so now you're faced with, okay, I don't have my usual outlets, whatever they may be for you. So how long, what will you do then? What do you do now when you're faced with something like that? And then do you notice even when finally the water starts to run clear? So I will leave all of us with that, and we will move on to some rinsing in preparation for this renewed granola recipe, which will be the topic of the next kitchen, actual kitchen piece of the Real Deal Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining us, and be well.